Hello and welcome. This is Eagle Eye 621, and what you see behind me is a bamboo farm capable of producing 230,000 bamboo per hour. To put that in some perspective, that is about one stack per second. You would need 26 hoppers to collect the output from this farm, and you could run 638 furnaces simultaneously and continuously from the output of this. So I will show you what's going on. I will show you how to make this, and I'll show you a smaller module of this that you can build for your survivor world as well. And that one is over here. And this one will produce 30,000 bamboo per hour in this very compact package. And then clearly you can take the water streams to funnel the crops wherever it is that you need them. Some of these that are on the top are just from turning it off and letting it grow. If that bothers you, you can put a roof on this. And let's turn this off and show you the materials that you need to make this. And they are right here in this chest. This is the part for the Shaky-Sand tech. Still looking at a name for that one. We've got a couple of good ones. Be sure to add yours to the comments. This is going to be our farming mechanism, and these are some structure blocks that you're going to need in order to set the whole thing up. And then once you're done, these are some materials that you can use to set up the water stream. So let's go and grab a copy of those materials and find a nice spot to build. You can see they're the same thing. And the way we start this out is by placing down a chest, but we want to go up a bunch so we have some room for the water streams and to prevent any mobs from jumping into our boats and ruining the sand. We're going to put a block on top of the chest and one up like this, and that's just going to help us in terms of aligning our boats properly with some room down there. And we're going to put our boats in the center of that and the center of that as well. And then we do want to check our alignment, although it's not as important, but we want to make sure that the sand is properly catching on the boat, which it is. So now the problem with the bamboo is that you need to stabilize the sand in order to make this functional, because if you tried to plant the bamboo on the sand at this point, it would just pop off. And the way that we're going to do that is going to be from coming up underneath on the sides, but the tricky one is the one in the center, because there's no good way to get a piston under there without destroying the whole thing. And that is why we needed two of the sticky pistons, because we're going to come from underneath and we're actually going to shove a glass pane under there. So we're going to put our glass pane down here, and we're going to put our sticky pistons like this and like this. And what we're going to do is also, to help stabilize that, we're going to come along from the other side, and we're going to use a piston to help push back from this side, like that. And what we can do is power this, and then we can power this sticky piston, and then this sticky piston, and you will see that the sand has stopped shaking. Now for the other ones, we can just come up from the bottom to the sides of the boat, like this. And then we can push that up in order to stabilize that one. And we can do the same thing on this side. And we can leave that one powered and get rid of this. And I knocked the sand over when I did that, so we're just going to put that back. And you always want to be careful when you're building this not to nudge the sand with your character, because if you nudge the boats, you may have to start over. And that's one too high, so we're going to come from underneath and push up. And one more. And we can get rid of all of these. And we're going to do exactly what we just did by taking the redstone block and powering these, destroying these, and then powering these. And you can see that all the sand has stopped shaking. So now you can plant the bamboo. If you're in survival, you can hit this with some bone meal. Creative mode, I can just do that so that they do grow. Although I will tell you at this point, it's easier before you release the sand if you add a row of slime blocks on top of one of these, just because it's going to be hard to place when the sand starts shaking. Now we also have to remove the sand from the middle in a very particular order, so we can depower these on the outsides, and then also depower this one on the outside. We're going to remove this one like this, and then we can remove this, and we're going to power this one more time and then depower it again to pull out the glass block. You can see the glass pane that has been removed, and then we can also remove this, and we can clean this up, and we can remove all of these, and we can remove all of these as well. And all the sand is shaking and will fast grow the bamboo. Now in order to set up a harvester, we're going to take our slime blocks and we're going to come back one so that we're at the side, and we're going to put a sticky piston there, and our harvest system is going to be these blocks like so. We get our repeaters and we get our dust, and we're going to put a repeater facing one way, make sure that's on 2 ticks, and also a repeater facing the other way, also make sure that is on 2 ticks, and we're going to add the dust right after we add our observer and our lever. And this is how we're going to make a 1-tick pulse, and we can do that by taking any direction that you would like and pointing the observer out and putting the lever on the face, and when you flick this lever it will create a 1-tick pulse, and that 1-tick pulse will turn this clock right here on, and this is a 2 redstone tick clock, so 2 on, 2 off, 2 on, 2 off. And you can see that we are harvesting all kinds of bamboo. Now this particular one you turn off by braking, but there is an on-off switch that I will show you in a little bit. Now we just need to make sure that we're going to contain all of this bamboo in order to be able to harvest it. So we can put some of these blocks around on the bottom, and we can come on this side as well. And then you want to make sure that you do go out 1 and then up. And you want to make sure also that you are 1 block above the line of the sticky piston. So the sticky piston is on this row, and we're 1 above and 1 below, obviously for the water stream. I'm going to put 1 there as well. Now if you want to make this a little bit tighter, you don't have to, but for the look, just grab a block that it can't touch, and then you can come in a little bit tighter. This is optional, but it may look nicer in your world if you do that. And come this way, and then again we need to come out 1 extra, and then up, and then like so. And then on the smaller one, we can just close this in here and bring this around, and then however it is that you want to set up your collection system. So on this one, I brought them both in and funneled them down, but you can of course do this however you would like to connect this to your setup, and you can even pull it in a little bit tighter like that, or you can go out 1 more and then come around as such and go down 1 like this. And obviously what we're doing here is we just need to make sure that we're guiding the water wherever it is that we want the water to go. And then you take your buckets or your ice, and you can come in and get 1 in this corner and also get 1 in this corner, and then we can use our fence gates if we're not making use of the full water stream to block where we don't want it to go and put another water bucket underneath that in order to make sure that everything is getting flushed from this side over. And then extend this to wherever you want to go, and then add some ice to make it go further. And we have a nice little output for when we activate this, again by flicking the lever. And the bamboo will start to shift and come over to the end. We do need to make sure that we're going to block these to make sure that our water stream is coming from that side. And there you go. Now if you want to have an automatic on-off switch, then you can set up a system like this. And the way this works is by having two observers facing down into some redstone dust. You do need to make sure you have a repeater on 2 ticks into more dust. And you need to make sure that the block you're pushing up to complete the circuit is activated before the observer. So when you click this lever, the block is pushed up, then this block is pushed up. That creates the 1-tick pulse, and you have your cycle and your clock. And then when you unpower it, the machine turns off. And that way you can put the system somewhere more accessible, and you can hook this up to an auto off switch if you want as well. Now you can do that on the large scale, which is what I did on this version. And there's a reason I have this version over here and this one over here. You can see that this one has the same clock that this one had, and that one had a different clock. So this, as I said before, is a 2 redstone clock. 2 on, 2 off. That's 2 ticks on, 2 ticks off in a cycle. And this version will produce 220,000 bamboo per hour, as you can see from that sign. Now, there's a way to get a little bit extra out of this, and that's by making a 3 game tick clock. Now, this does get a little bit technical, but it's important to understand the difference. The game runs on 20 ticks per second, but there are only 10 redstone ticks per second. So this 2 redstone tick clock is 4 game ticks. And that's what you can do with this system. Now, this clock right here, and this is actually in Ilmango clock, and I'll link to his video below. This creates a 3 game tick clock. So it's a 1.5 redstone tick clock. And that's important because a 1 tick redstone pulse will cause the piston to drop its block. And that would make this farm have much, much lower rates. But the 3 game ticks is enough that it holds on, but it's a little bit faster, so you have those slightly increasing rates. And whether this complication is worth it in your world for the additional 10,000 per hour, that's going to be up to you. I will link to Ilmango's video, but what you see is pretty much what you get in how to do this. I'll just look around like this. Do take note that this piston is a sticky piston. This one is a regular piston. These top 2 don't matter. And your on-off switch does have to be on the sticky piston side. And like so. Do also keep in mind that this is as far as the signal will go. Do not move this further away from your world. You need to have this right here between the 2 pistons. Now, if you're making the bigger version, then all you do is you recreate this a couple of times. So you take the chest, you move 2 blocks away, and then you put down another chest. And you can see there's 2 block space in between there, and so on, until you get to the push limit. Also do take note when you're setting up your water streams, when you come down in here, you won't be able to place these blocks. You are going to have to use a piston to push them into place. Do make sure you push them from underneath, not from the sides, or you could knock your boats out and need to start over. And then you flip it around and you do that on the same side, and you can connect both of your sticky pistons to the same circuit that you have to make your proper clock. And I happen to like this a little bit better because it gives this nice little dual-sided engine effect, which I think is worth it. I don't know if that additional complication is great for the extra. And just for some numbers, you can see right now my game is running at 20 MST. It hovers there. It's a little bit higher. Usually it drops below that. It's because I'm sitting right on top of this. And I do have some other applications running in the background, so this isn't a proper lag test. But this does show that this won't lag out your game. This is a viable build in survival if you're looking for an absolutely crazy amount of bamboo. If you found this video helpful, I would appreciate a like. And for more videos like this, be sure to subscribe. Thanks for stopping by.